Muhammad Ali, Michael J. Fox, Billy Connolly, and Robin Williams. Four of the greatest entertainers of our times. But there's one other thing that links them together. All four were diagnosed with and had their lives drastically changed by one thing. But what causes this horrific disease, and what is being done to help treat it? Let's investigate further into Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease is the second most common neurodegenerative disease and is most commonly characterized by motor symptoms such as bradykinesia, or slowed movements, and tremors. While Parkinson's most commonly affects those over the age of 65, earlier onset can occur, particularly between the ages of 40 to 65. Earlier onset is usually exacerbated by genetic variants of the disease. So what exactly happens in Parkinson's disease? Parkinson's disease is caused by the degeneration and death of dopaminergic neurons in the substantia nigra of the brain. As a result of this reduction in neurons, the levels of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that helps control movement and speech, are decreased, causing irregular electrical signals in the brain and leading to the introduction of symptoms that worsen over time. Unfortunately, motor symptoms do not typically appear until 80% of neurons have degenerated. There are a wide variety of symptoms of Parkinson's disease. While the most synonymous and obvious symptom is muscle tremors, other symptoms include insomnia, micrographia, or a decreased size in handwriting, anosmia, or a loss of smell, and mental health degradation, including an increase in anxiety and depression, as well as hallucinations and paranoia. There are several treatments that have been used for Parkinson's sufferers over the past few decades. Levodopa, or replacement dopamine medication, is used to try to reduce the motor symptoms associated with Parkinson's. Deep brain stimulation is another treatment used to combat motor symptoms, particularly in those where medication is not useful. An electrode is inserted into the brain and is connected to an impulse generator battery, or IGB, implanted under the skin of the collarbone. Complementary medicines are used by around 40% of Parkinson's sufferers, usually as a temporary relief from symptoms. Some of these treatments include acupuncture, which is reported to reduce nausea and sleep problems, and medical marijuana, which has the ability to significantly reduce tremors along with other symptoms. However, there's even more treatments currently being researched and developed to help treat Parkinson's disease. Glial cell line-derived neurotrophic factor, or GDNF, closed-loop cortical neuromodulation, or CNM, and induced pluripotent stem cells, or iPSCs, are three of the most current and potentially life-changing treatments to Parkinson's sufferers. Glial cell line-derived neurotrophic factor, or GDNF, is a type of neurotrophic therapy. That is, proteins that are shown to have protective or even regenerative effects on neurons. This type of therapy is particularly intriguing as, unlike most current treatments, GDNF therapy will target the cause of the disease rather than simply treating the symptoms. In initial trials, GDNF was infused or injected directly into the brain. However, it was shown that this was impractical and that the drug was metabolized too rapidly. More current approaches have looked into gene therapy, which would instead require inserting the gene for the protein into brain cells. Currently, however, the results of trials using GDNF for Parkinson's sufferers have shown no significant improvement to motor function. Despite this, there is still hope for the treatment. As delivery methods and doses given are constantly being re-evaluated, the true ability of GDNF will be revealed. As previously mentioned, deep brain stimulation is a current treatment for later stage Parkinson's sufferers. Currently, the design used for the loop is open. That is, it only works according to input and does not fluctuate based on output. This, therefore, limits the usefulness of the current DBS model. As the disease progresses, it causes the need to constantly adjust the system, which can take weeks to return to optimum efficacy. In a closed-loop model, two electrodes are employed, one to measure and record changes, and the other to enact them. As a result, electrical impulses can be automatically adjusted as the brain changes, rather than having to manually change the impulses delivered. Trials also test the use of online programs that update the stimulation in real time to the brain's activity. Clinical trials in monkeys have shown that a closed-loop model causes more noticeable clinical improvements and decreases the number of side effects possible. Of course, due to the increased materials used in creating a closed loop, concerns over the weight of the apparatus have been raised. In response, considerations of a portable loop or even a batteryless loop are constantly being created and tested. Finally, stem cell therapy is a treatment that is constantly being researched, not just for Parkinson's disease, but for a whole variety of disorders. However, in the case of Parkinson's disease, there is a focus on stem cells that have been derived from embryonic origins, ESCs, plus on stem cells that have been reprogrammed from adult cells, iPSCs. Due to the nature of stem cells, neural cells can be created and implanted into the body, possibly replacing those that have been damaged. In both of these therapies, the cells created are self-renewable, allowing unlimited recreation of the cells. In particular, the use of iPSC is attractive to scientists, as the use of cells can reduce the risk of rejection in patients. Despite the fact that there are very few current trials using either of these stem cell therapies, trials of cell transplantations have been shown to have a positive impact on Parkinson's sufferers. Grafts of fetal midbrain tissues have been a tested treatment type for several decades and, despite a few experimental flaws, showed that grafted tissues remained healthy in sufferers, relieving some symptoms. Despite this, the risk of tumour proliferation, plus struggles in determining the appropriate type of stem cell to use, has put significant delays on trials. As you can see, there are many treatments for Parkinson's disease currently being researched and trialled. The consequences of these treatments on the lives of Parkinson's sufferers will undoubtedly be life-changing and will lead the way to a cure of this disease. Hopefully, these worsened lives will one day be a thing of the past.